One night, Shadow Garden held an important meeting to report on the situation from various places. Since the God of War festival ended, there has been no movement from the Diabolos cult in the Midgar Kingdom. The groups formed by Diabolos also did not have any movement. Even Fenrir's group, the 5th seat member of the Diabolos cult, is trying to rebuild the group order in the Diabolos cult. The Diabolos cult is in confusion because Shadow Garden always manages to thwart their plans. Shadow Garden's mission is now to focus on the Oriana Kingdom. But unfortunately, there is growing financial activity heading to the Lawless City. The Lawless City is an area that does not belong to any kingdom. Lots of crime, pleasure of lust, and freedom in a very dirty environment. Of course, these financial activities are very strange in such a lawless city. Then suddenly, Shadow said something that surprised the Shadow Garden members. The red moon is a phenomenon and tragedy that occurred 1,000 years ago. If this happens again, the entire city will be destroyed. But Alpha said that if this red moon was a sign of such a tragedy, Shadow Garden would make a move before it happened. Then Shadow says that he will conduct an investigation directly into the Lawless City. Of course, Beta and the others didn't want Shadow to go there alone, but Shadow tells them not to worry about it. Then, the members of Shadow Garden understood Shadow's intentions, because any phenomenon or tragedy would not be able to resist Shadow's power.
赤い月も美しいと思わないか？
伝説の赤き月もあなたの前では形なしね。
所詮月が赤いだけの話。そうだろ。
As we know from the first season, Shadow created the Shadow Garden organization just for fun. He creates his own delusions, scenarios, and storylines. He didn't understand anything that was going on. Even he didn't know that Shadow Garden had developed rapidly and had a large headquarters. Most importantly, he shows his cool figure as Shadow at certain moments, eradicate the evil in the shadows, and wants to be an extra or supporting character. Of course, Shadow didn't understand what was going on at the moment. The moon turning red has been going on for some time. It indicates that the resurrection of the Blood Queen will soon come, as in the legend. On the other hand, Goldo, Kinmeki, and Quinton are hunting the Blood Queen, who will soon rise. They had arrived at the Lawless City and immediately went to the Crimson Tower. When they wanted to enter the tower, they were blocked by someone nicknamed the White Demon. The White Demon said that only slaves, guests, or people who had power could pass through the gates of this tower. Then Goldo and Quinton said they had no business with the White Demon. They want to kill the Blood Queen now. But the White Demon prevented them because whoever opposed the Blood Queen, they would be made into guard dogs, or tortured to the condition that the White Demon is experiencing now. The White Demon only had one arm because he used to oppose the Blood Queen. The White Demon will not allow strangers to enter the Crimson Tower, so he would have fun fighting them now. The next day, Sid and Claire went to the Lawless City to head to the Spell Sword Knight Association. They were there to participate in a strategy meeting to attack the vampires in the Crimson Tower. Back during the God of War festival, Claire wins the festival as the grand champion. Because of this, Sid invited Claire to eat at an expensive restaurant with a VIP room. Of course, all these luxuries Sid gets for free. This restaurant belongs to the Mitsugoshi Company, which Gamma and other Shadow Garden members manage. Claire was amazed that Sid could book a place like this for her. Well, even though Sid's real reason was just to keep Claire from bothering him during the holidays. But it turned out that Claire invited Sid to go to the Lawless City. Back to the present, Claire brings Sid to the Lawless City for the future of her beloved brother. So far, Sid has never wanted to tell Claire about his future. Not long after, there was a slave trader who offered Claire the price of cheap but quality slaves. When the slave trader shows his slaves, it turns out they are Goldo and Quinton, who are unconscious. Then Claire refused the slave trader's offer because she already had a pet. What Claire means is probably Sid. After they found a place to stay, Claire went to the Magic Sword Knight Association as soon as possible. Of course, Sid deliberately walks around in the Lawless City and gets lost there. Many people wanted to steal money from Sid, but instead, Sid took his money back as well as the thief's money. This was easy for Sid. In fact, he could become rich if he continued to stay in this Lawless City, which was like heaven in his eyes. After Sid steals a lot of money from thieves, he sees some people beating up the ghoul. Sid just watched because this incident was normal in this Lawless City. Whoever is strong or has power, they will rule in this city. Ghouls are usually used as punching bags for residents who like violence. When it was night, the red moon suddenly grew bigger and radiated strong magic.
魔力の波どうしよういつも通りモブっぽく逃げるか
Residents who are bitten by the ghoul will turn into ghouls. This is the magic effect of the red moon. Sid, who saw this, laughed and wanted to create a cool storyline again as usual. He thought about what action would make him cool when eradicating these ghouls. Not long after, a red-haired girl saw Sid dealing with the ghouls. Of course, she immediately rescues Sid, who she thinks is just an ordinary citizen. Sid asks the girl, "Who are you?" Then, the girl introduced herself. She is Mary, the oldest vampire hunter. Mary said super cool words in front of Sid. "Run if you don't want to die. The rampage will begin soon. The moon is turning red, there's no time left." After saying these words, Mary left there to hunt other ghouls. Of course, Sid got goosebumps after hearing Mary's cool words. From here, Sid will have fun in the lawless city.
これが時間がない
On the other hand, Jaga and Hiro are in a lawless city. They deliberately visit places of prostitution to satisfy their lust. There were many beautiful and sexy women there, which made their swords very tense. But unfortunately, this place has been attacked by ghouls. Of course, Jaga and Hiro immediately ran away as quickly as possible. In one house, a young girl had just finished having sex with an old uncle. Her name is Marie, and she always receives rude behavior when serving her customers. When she wanted to rest, the old uncle came back as a ghoul. Of course, Marie was scared to see him and just saw the situation outside, filled with ghouls. When the uncle ghoul wanted to attack Marie, Shadow comes to save her. Then Shadow repeated the same words as Mary before. Marie didn't understand what Shadow meant. After Shadow left, one of her friends approached Marie. Then Marie's friend was surprised because the ghoul had died there. Marie says that it was Shadow who saved her. Of course, Marie's friends are shocked because Shadow is a bad guy who has caused a lot of chaos. According to her, tonight's chaos was also part of Shadow's plan. Then Marie was determined to get out of this crazy city. She didn't want to continue living there. In Marie's mind, she was grateful to Shadow and was sure that Shadow was not evil. On the other hand, Goldo and Quentin finally woke up from their stupor. They immediately fled from the city, which was filled with ghouls. On the other hand, Claire has returned to the inn to take Sid away. Then she was very annoyed and worried about Sid because Sid was not in his guest room. There was also a commotion from the uncle making love with a ghoul girl. After Claire helped the uncle, she looked for Sid in the city by telling the knights about Sid's physical characteristics. When she goes around town, she finds her beloved brother dead. Claire cries and hugs the corpse because she regrets bringing Sid to the lawless city. Not long after, Mary came to Claire because she met two men with black hair and eyes. Mary explains that the corpse Claire holds does not have a black eye.
え誰よあんた
Mary said the first man she saw was laughing out loud at the ghoul. Then, the second man was afraid when he saw the ghouls. Claire said that the second man was her younger brother. According to Claire, Sid couldn't possibly laugh when he was scared. Mary said that the Blood Queen's subordinates had taken the second man to the Crimson Tower. The vampires are trying to bring offerings for the resurrection of the Blood Queen in the Crimson Tower. Blood Queen Elizabeth will rise from her sleep once every 1,000 years. She desperately needed the blood of a living young man. Mary knew this because there was already a sign from the vampires who had brought a man as an offering. Then Claire said she would head to the Crimson Tower immediately. Mary will also head there to kill Elizabeth. Because of this, they team up to achieve their respective interests.
へえ待ってなさいシド地上からの侵入は難しいが方法はあるついてきて私はクレア
On the other hand, the Spell Sword Knight Association could no longer fight against the ghouls. But there is one girl who still tries to survive. When the ghouls were about to attack the girl, Shadow came to save her. Again, Shadow uses the words spoken by Mary before, even though Shadow didn't understand those words and didn't know what would happen next. He just thought like this, "Oh, those are cool words. I'll use them for my shadow appearance while hunting ghouls and money." On the other hand, Yukime, the master of the White Tower, receives a report that the lawless city is almost filled with ghouls. Then Yukime says that if anyone is still alive, they won't be able to get out of this terrible city. Meanwhile, Juggernaut, the master of the Black Tower, also received the same report as Yukime's subordinates. Yukime and Juggernaut immediately eradicate the ghouls to get to the Crimson Tower as quickly as possible. But they also compete because they hate each other. In the Crimson Tower, Crimson's subordinates have finished preparing the ritual for the offering to Blood Queen Elizabeth. He also reports to Crimson that there is resistance from Yukime and Juggernaut. What's more, there is Shadow, who helps eradicate ghouls in the city. Of course, Crimson was shocked after hearing that.
主は
あいえですがもう一人何我が名はシャドウ影に潜み影を狩る者